8 people were killed and 4 more wounded, including 3 children, as a result of the military shelling of Donetsk in the Donetsk region by Russian occupiers. According to the region's military administration, the enemy fired deliberately at crowded places.
They hit a public transport stop where there was a crowd of people at the time. In addition, the Russian occupiers damaged a church and wounded a priest. They also damaged the surrounding multi-story buildings. I appeal to all residents of the region: don't turn yourself into a Russian target. Evacuate on time. Pavlo Kirilenko, head of the Donetsk Regional Military Administration.
Nikopol in the Dnipropetrovsk region came under enemy fire overnight, the regional military administration reports. There is damage to civilian infrastructure. The Kryvyi Rih district was also shelled.
One house was destroyed, almost 50 were damaged, and 30 outbuildings were affected. 2 power lines were broken and more than 3,000 residents were left without electricity. According to preliminary information, no victims or casualties were reported. 1 woman was wounded as a result of the shelling of Shiroke in the Kryvyi Rih district of the Dnipropetrovsk region. Valentin Reznichenko, head of the Dnipropetrovsk Regional Military Administration.
In the morning, powerful explosions broke out in Mykolaiv. Russian occupiers shelled 2 districts of the city. Several residential buildings were damaged. No civilian casualties were reported. The enemy launched a rocket attack in the Zaporizhia region. The shell hit the warehouses of an agricultural company and also a granary.
An infrastructure facility in the Zavodsky district of the regional center came under rocket attack. 2 arrivals were recorded. There was 1 victim who was wounded by shards of glass. At present, he is in satisfactory condition. Alexander Starukh, head of the Zaporizhia Regional Military Administration.
Russian occupiers fired mortars and artillery at 3 communities in the Sumy region. 6 shells hit private houses, streets and vegetable gardens. Fires broke out as a result of the shelling. There were no civilian casualties. In 4 directions in the Donetsk region, the Ukrainian military repulsed an assault by the Russian occupiers, in particular in Bakhmut, Slovyansk, Kramatorsk and Avdiivka directions. The enemy had to retreat with heavy losses in manpower and equipment.
In the Kharkiv direction, they shelled the areas of Kharkiv, Prudnyanka, Pitomnik, Ruski Tishki, Nova Mykolaiivka and Rubizhne. The occupiers advanced in the direction of Kochubeivka, Dementievka, were repulsed and withdrew. The enemy carried out an offensive in the area of the western outskirts of Berestove, had no success and withdrew. The same situation in the directions of Volodymyrivka, Yakovlivka and Semigirya Kodema.
During the day, the Russian occupiers fired 3 rockets in the Luhansk direction. They shelled Ukrainian positions and towns with artillery and mortars, but with no success.
The occupiers were forced to retreat with significant losses at 14 sites where they tried to improve their tactical position. They do not count their losses because it is mostly the residents of the occupied territories who are killed. Russians do not need them for the future because for 8 years the population of the so-called Luhansk People's Republic has been a burden on the Russian budget. Serhiy Haidai, head of the Luhansk Regional Military Administration.
A blue and yellow flag was raised in the highest point of Sviatohirsk in the Donetsk region, which is partially occupied by Russian troops. It was hoisted by the guardsmen of the General Kolchitsky battalion and promised good news in the future.
We did it!
The enemy also failed to advance in the Kherson region. According to the Operational Command South, the Ukrainian armed forces continue to successfully destroy ammunition depots.
The command post of the 22nd Army Corps of the Russian Black Sea Fleet coastal troops was destroyed in Chornobayevka. The full extent of enemy losses is being finalized. In the Black Sea, the enemy fleet's ship grouping has not undergone any changes. It continues to hide in missile-safe areas and keeps 2 missile carriers with 16 missiles and 3 amphibious assault ships on standby.
The situation on the Ukrainian-Belarusian border is also unsafe. According to the General Staff, the Belarusians have strengthened security in the Brest and Gomel regions and are checking their combat readiness. Meanwhile, the Rivne region has already developed an evacuation plan in case of a worst-case scenario of a military attack of the enemy by Belarus. Reported by Marina Stepanenko, Alexander Belov, UATV News.